Continue down this bridge. You cannot remain here any longer. Gamal gives him a nod and starts to walk across the soggy boards as the new head of the group. We walk along the bridges together in the stillness. Guides occasional instruction of what paths to take, stolen conversation develops in the night. Our steps echo throughout the bridges, and I'm more acutely aware of just how many paths there spread across the lake than ever. Even the voices of the lake are quiet, but it's no consolation for in the place. It's the otherworldly squishing sounds of the prowlers, contorting their aquatic forms across the boards. Impossible to tell exactly where they're coming from. The sound seems to echo in every direction at once. All I know is that it's too close for comfort. I do my best to ignore the feeling, but the sounds still fill me with a constant, lingering dread. We cross a long path and come across a strange sight. It's a bridge that curves in and becomes narrow in the middle than usual. Eyeing the dubious bridge wearily, I grow nervous at the idea of getting that close to the edge. Gamal's pace slows before coming to a stop directly in front of the foreign way. For once, he looks to the guide for this matter. The guide that braces this bridge looks intensely down the path ahead. Normally, it would be possible to cross a narrow bridge if one is careful with how to step. We can continue as we are, or combined way is too much. Another path. This is our path. Mel's eyes widen at the explanation before gritting his teeth and speaking with a tone coated with suspicion. So you knew from the start we'd reach a point where putting it down was the only option. Guide silence is confirmation enough from Mel. He scuffs seriously, then purposefully strides forward, planting his feet on the mouth of the narrow bridge. Unfortunately, that plan isn't going to work. I may not look the part, but I'm quite light on my feet. If this is our path, then prepare to cross it with me. Guide still does not speak. He looks completely unfettered. But Mel doesn't take kindly to the guide's dismissiveness. He lifts his boot for a second time, stretching it out ahead of his body, threatening to move even further down the narrow way. He's bluffing, isn't he? I've known Mel for a few years now, and I wouldn't assume even his recklessness would go this far. Yet, I cannot help but hold concerns because I wanted to give him the potion, okay? One wrong step could mean the end for the both, regardless of how serious intentions are. Has he gotten out of hand? For a second I catch the guide looking my way. The moment I realize it, however, his return to staring down with Mel. Do it. To die on these boards is my fate. What difference is there should it be today or tomorrow? It is only those you are trying to protect who will suffer. Mel snarls under his breath, but puts his foot down where it usually was. Then even takes a few steps back, head lowered in defeat. Seems you have no choice. I reach into my pocket to take out the vial belonging to our guide. Mel places the guide back onto the ground as I hand the medicine towards him. He takes it from me and downs the entire dose almost instantly. Thought you were only going to take half. The less medicine I drink, the longer it takes to have an effect. Our time is even more limited thanks to how much she wasted on a little game. I had to drink it all so we could move forward. The hit should be fine. Uneasy and regretful glances are shared throughout our party, none is showing more of those emotions than by Mel. Been forced to accept that, better or worse, on Sinlust decides all. This is disheartening. At the very least, the guide gains his mobility back in short order, as he assured us. Shake off the heaviness of what happened and put my focus on the task ahead. Give a firm look to my traveling partners and hope they'll feel the same. No further discussion. The guide smoothly glides across the bridge in the center till his effortless walk brings him to where the boards widen again. Now it is our turn, and with only a single lantern shared between us, we have to be mindful of how to cross without leaving anyone in the darkness. I will stay in the middle. One of you will lead, while the other goes behind. I ponder over what position to take. The person in front could potentially stall the others to bump into us. It seems important to send someone capable of crossing without stopping. Yet, it may also be better to send someone who could possibly be left behind first to ensure that doesn't happen. I look over to my companions, also seem pensive over this decision. None of us want to make the wrong choice. I hope dearly to myself that we're exaggerating how dangerous crossing this thin bridge will be. If no one has an opinion on the matter, I would like to go last. It would be easier for me to match someone else's steps than to walk without the lead. Mal nods and gives a slight smile. If that's the case, I will gladly go first. The ordering decided, the three of us carefully start to make our way across. First Bemal steps onto the narrow bridge. A few seconds later I follow after him. And after a pause behind me, Margaret also starts going across. As we inch our way across, something strange starts to happen. I notice the bridge starts to bend down to the right. I suddenly realize the weight of all of us is pressed into support beams. The others have noticed as well. The sounds of alarm will sound from both in front of me and behind. I speak in a hushed whisper, trying to remain calm. We need to focus on keeping ourselves centered. Can't let the bridge tilt. Think over our predicament. I can't leave Margaret behind. There's nowhere for her to go, no other source of light nearby. Bemal could try going by himself, while he keeps still and close enough to the guide for Bemal to remain in the light completely. However, only him moving, hopefully, the bridge will remain stable enough for him to cross it quickly. With him safe on the other side. Also, what time is it? We will have an easier time keeping the bridge from bending again. Can't be sure if it's worth the risk though. This concerns maybe a knee-jerk reaction to seeing a sign of danger. If all of us go slowly, it's possible we'll still cross together. I hastily share my thoughts in the manner of the other two. Bemal listens to me intently. A look comes over his eyes, and it's clear that he's not fond of the idea of leaving us behind. I shake my head and urge him to go. Having one less person on this bridge would be beneficial for everyone, Bemal. Margaret gives Sky a silent agreement towards the plan. Sighs and nods. Bemal snacks in a breath and carefully starts to walk down the bridge. Mostly stays in one place. The bridge slightly creaks from side to side. Luckily, it's not an extreme enough tilt to unbalance anyone. Bemal successfully reached the edge of my light. For a moment, he stares down at the path of darkness. He then moves quickly without hesitation. He makes it closer and closer to the other side, and suddenly a twisted backwards arm closely with blackened water bursts from the side and latches onto Bemal's leg. A scream pierces the air as Bemal tries frantically to separate himself from the next. Simply digs its claws deeper into his leg, which causes him to shriek even louder. I stare on in abject horror as the scene unfolds before us. The bridge shifts and begins to bend from the strain again. Little Bemal can't do to resist. He rolls over the bridge into the water. Bemal! I shout despairingly, but my voice can't help. He fights to keep his arm out, refusing to go completely under. Soon, even that is pulled down. Bemal never resurfaces, not so much as a bubble coming up from the lake. The bridge slowly creaks back into place, sloshing as it settles into its original position. All as if nothing happened. An eerie stillness overtakes the area as I stare mouth trembling at the place my companion was lost. I'm overwhelmed with feelings. My eyes fill to the brim with tears. Why? Why did this have to happen? Before I have any time to grieve, the guide's voice rings out on the wind from across the bridge. You cannot stay there. You must keep going. I count my breaths and attempt to calm myself. As long as I stand here, Margaret can move. I'm going to start walking again. Okay. Now with only 2 sets of feet instead of 3, it's not as difficult a journey to make. The mere idea of one of us being missing pains me to my core. Eventually, we make it to the other side of the narrow bridge. The remaining 3 of us stand together quietly as we process what happened. I place my free hand over my face to cover my eyes as I begin to weep. Not all of us made it. No matter how many times I stayed in my head, not able to make myself accepted. We were all here just a moment ago, and yet now? How could this have happened? Forget what you saw. As of right now, nothing matters except for the fact that we have yet to reach the shore. Morning will arrive soon. We must continue. I can understand the words. I need to keep myself together until I reach the shore, and yet it seems impossible to actually do. Everyone is being lost one by one. Take it. Margaret huddles close to me. She's also sobbing quietly into my shoulder. I can hear her faintly whispering apologies over and over like a heartbroken mantra. The guy taps the base of his staff into the boards, not allowing us to become lost in our sorrow. Margaret sniffles and wipes the tears from my eyes. She begins to walk forward. She looks behind her to see if I'm still remaining close. I manage to make myself take a step forward. My stomach twists as we simply have to move past the death of another person for the second time. It's so cruel. Mel was a wonderful guard and a wonderful person. He was trying towards so much, but it was all lost in a moment. I'm sorry. So sorry. After hours of navigating the web of bridges, the faint silhouette of the shore creeps into view. It seems unbelievable that the end is in sight. Even that wisp of hope does little to ease the ache inside me. I still feel hollow inside. Those of us remain and continue in the direction of the shore. The darkness around us begins to break. A seed of worry sprouts inside me. Will we make it? The guy at the head seems to have no sign of concern on his face. He's calmer than I've ever seen him. I hold on to the hope that we'll be able to make it through. The sky above becomes tint of red as we head down a long stretch of boards. We walk further and further into the mist before it comes into view holds my steps. Dead end. I gasp at the sight. It sunk. Why? Why did this have to fall now? The shore is there. I see it right in front of my eyes. Margaret is aghast. This possibility never occurred to her. Is there any other path? I ask urgently, making an effort to keep myself from sounding too panicked. The guy doesn't respond, even turn to face me. Just keeps staring ahead at the end of the pathway. Guide! Our way has been taken from us. We need to find another bridge before the sun rises. Listen to me. Finally, the guide steers from my harsh calls, speaks in a distant sort of way as if we were in a trance. This bridge didn't sink. There was never the path to the shore, and yet here we are. What? I took the wrong way. Can't reach the shore. I wonder how much of this was a mistake. You can't actually mean that. What? How could you? Marcus's wide eyes unable to finish a complete sentence. It cannot be happening. It can't. He took us the wrong way. And he did it intentionally? No. The medicine robbed him of logic. Perhaps it was his will that was lost. We had taken less. Would this not have happened? Or was it over as soon as I left him to the next while on the shore? My mind begins to raise a million other questions. I snap myself out of it. There's only one pressing matter to attend at this moment in time. Forcefully grab the guide by his shoulders and make him turn towards us. You need to show us the correct bridge, or else we're going to die. He pushes my hands off of him, dropping his staff to the side in the process. Grab his wrist and try to pull him forward. He remains solidly planted on the bridge, more strength than anticipated given his hazy state. I tighten my grip, intending to make him move this time. However, he speaks before I can. This is the end. Leave me be. My hands slip from the guide at those words. I look at him, utterly baffled. We did not understand him. Not in any way. We look back in the corner as the sun rises higher. Kika, you can stay. I know, we need to go. However, the guide won't move. Are we really meant to simply do nothing? Let him be lost, like the others? The bridge begins to rattle the lake below us. Swallow hard, this is foolish. There's enough time for any of us to make it. He's aware of that. Margaret looks at me with heavy tears springing in her eyes. Her fright is faintly wild. We're going to leave. Margaret wipes her eyes with sleeve and knots. Two of us start to rush down the bridges frantically. Not too much progress is made before the shaking morphs into an urgent shuddering and sinking. Despite the bridge starting to disappear below, we keep running until there's no more bridge left to cross. I try desperately to tread water, but the armor weighs me down. It stands fluid. Inevitably, my strength is quickly sapped away. Don't think so much, just plummet down into the lake. The painful biting, burning in my lungs takes a few minutes to subside, and I slip into unfeeling nothingness. Oh no, wait, that's wrong. I hastily share my thoughts on Matt with the other two, but Matt listens to me intently. The looks come over his face, and it's clear that he's not fond of the idea of leaving us men. I shake my hand and urge him to go. Wait, what? That was the wrong one. And nothing. I don't want to stay here. What if it breaks? Yes, we need to move forward. If someone notices the bridge bending at all, they need to slow and tell the rest of us. Both of them nod, and so we begin inching our way forward. Focus my thoughts on putting one foot in front of the other, keeping my balance in check as I try to remain centered. Despite our best efforts, however, the bridge begins to tilt sideways once more. We can't stay in sync with one another, causing the front bridge to bend down to the left, while the back twists to the right. Stop! We need to rebalance. All of us moving our positions at once only further contorts the bridge. It begins to work the angels back and forth, start to struggle to remain on my feet, let alone be perfectly centered. Isn't me alone. A lot of us struggle to keep from toppling over the bridge, waves from side to side. I hear a high-pitched yelp from behind me. I turn my head and see the Margaret is slipping. She shuffles helplessly on her feet and draws dangerously close to the edge. I reach a hand out to her. As futile as it is, she already has lost her balance and tumbles over the side of the bridge completely. Margaret! I shout desperately, but my voice can't help. She struggles just below the surface of thick water until the monsters make their way to her. She never resurfaces. There's never so much as a bubble coming up from the lake. Now, dead end. Lost your damn mind? We need to run. So close that we were able to find the show without him. We couldn't trust his words as he is regardless. Nope. Let the guide have his medicine. That's what I wanted to pick originally anyway. So this is the path I would have chosen, not the path of death. His expression immediately falls when I say this. He stares down at the bottle in his hands directly. I sigh. I don't enjoy dashing his hope of not being completely at the mercy of the guide. However, his reckless behavior is more likely to get all of us killed, which he did. I cannot carry a man for this entire journey. I'm aware that you've good intentions, but having a mutiny in our guide is going too far. Considering the state he's in, it's possible that his mind is cluttered already because of the pain. What if he's no longer able to keep his eyes open after a while? The guide cannot take care of himself, and he won't be of assistance to anyone. Mal scans me, and I can tell that he still has reservations over my argument. I can't blame him. The guide will not give up on his own life over some pain. I stand by my reasoning and look at him firmly. The man looks at me and then back down at the bottle. The others start to grow nervous over a battle of wills. Hand back the medicine. The guide won't leave us behind as long as we follow diplomatically. We all must cooperate. Focus us sat back on the guide, realizing he's become the center of attention. Ordinarily gives us a nod. The man clicks his tongue a few times before doing as I asked, handing the vial back to its owner. He feebly accepts a glass and uncaps it, downing half the vial, without wasting any more time. I feel confident the guide will continue to show us the way. However, Bemel starts to grow frustrated when the guide does not immediately speak, pressing his heel into the wooden board below in anticipation. The guide softly rests his forehead against the side of his staff. His eyes droop slightly as he relaxes his muscle briefly. He waits patiently for the medicine to kick in, forcing the rest of us to do the same. After a brief pocket of time, the guide's labored breathing steadies, slowly pulls himself up on his feet with his staff leverage. Despite stumbling slightly and trying to get up, the spike in energy received from the medicine is noticeable. We must continue, now. He doesn't waste the strength communing with us further, instead turning his back towards our small group. With that brief statement finished, he starts down the bridge. I can still see him limping. I cannot deny that this is worrying. He's already taking half the medicine. Would taking enough to probably walk be so much of a risk? I begin to follow after the guide, and the two of me will follow behind, making sure to stay within the safe harbor of my light. Once I'm near him, I notice that he is becoming more stable in gait. I ponder over whether I should mention my thoughts to him or not. Say nothing. Bite my tongue and let the thought go. Now is not the time for making even more of a fuss. The guide knows how to manage these types of situations. Waiting another discussion will waste more of our time and accomplish nothing. Already been settled, I need to keep it that way. Our group moves at a much brisker pace than the previous night. After the exchange that just took place, the moon sunk into a murky pool. Not a word is exchanged between us. The only sounds that accompany us are the whispers of the demons in the lake, the pounding of our feet hitting the wood. For some time, we encounter a strange bridge. The oddity is noticeable immediately. Boards bend inward and become far out, and the bridges we come across. The guide marches forward with no hesitation, while the rest of us awkwardly hold in front of the unknown path. He calmly walks in the center of the boards. Halfway there, he begins to wobble. Suck in a breath as I can only watch. To my relief, the guide is able to steady himself and make it all the way across without a hinge. Now is it our turn, and with only a single lantern shed between us, to be mindful of the course without leaving anyone in darkness. I will stay in the middle, one of us leave, blah blah blah. See the furthest parts inside me. Will we make it? The guide there seems to have no sign of concern on his face. I hold on that I hope that we'll be able to make it through. We near the very end of the bridges. We let the woman die by the way. I smell the trees and the earth, and even through the fog I can almost count the remaining bridges between us and land. But between the end and us, the prowler appears. The metal curses quietly as the prowler sloppily advances. I eye the monster intently. It makes no move to leave us, so I turn to the guide instead. Here. Take my lantern. Once it's scared off, we'll make our way to the shore. Shouldn't be an issue if it's so close by. The guide says nothing. However, he extends his hand to accept my offer. I feel my body tense for a moment before relinquishing my light to the guide. Not much further. I'm sure we can make it. The guide slowly steps ahead. He and the creature brace for confrontation. Bemel and I stay close enough to the guide's back to keep from being left behind in the darkness. Be ready to run. Don't get left behind. He then darts forward and launches the light directly at the prowler. Makes a snarling hiss as it repeats defeated, back to the black waters. None of us even waste a second looking back. We push forward, a race across the bridges, desperately trying to keep the guide's light edge figure in clear sight. I run as fast as I can manage without slipping on the boards. We run across the entire way, spurred down by the shoreline rapidly approaching. Miraculously, I feel my feet plunge in the dirt. Stumble forwards, nearly collapsing on the ground while trying to catch my breath. Feels as though I've come out of a long dream and made it. Thank God. Oh, thank God. I rested quietly for a few moments, taking time to allow my breathing and emotions to settle down. Finally, I look up from my lap and see Bemel standing ahead of me. Both of our eyes are flowing with tears. Bemel walks over and sits down in the dirt nearby. Gazes deeply into my eyes with a gentle smile gracing his lips. No words need to be exchanged between us to know what the other is thinking. I'm glad for it, because I'm not sure I wouldn't be able to speak even if I needed to. The sound of sloshing and the wood lurching captures our attention as the bridges begin to sink. In a few minutes, only the lonely dog is left. That, the guide walks towards me. It is time to leave this place. There's nothing left for you here. Upon being addressed by him, I rise to my feet. The calm look on his face, though there is force behind his serenity. I open my mouth and attempt to speak. However, I quickly realize I've little idea of what to say. Thank him for this? Should I give him my trust? Also survival because of him? Or despite him? Even now I cannot know for certain. Then the fog is removed from my thoughts. After everything that has happened, it becomes clear. I harden my face to match his serious disposition. There's something he's certainly right of. This lake isn't a place to linger. Going round and round in circles will never help. We cannot submit our lives and our minds to sinless. For better or for ill, there's only one person who can help those ones that are within its grasp. The guide. If he were removed, the place would be no safer. What I must do if I truly want to defend others and keep them from coming here alone. When I return to my village, I intend to make the information actually known to our elder. What would to happen? We must leave. Farewell. His eyes narrow as he looks over me, and feel uncomfortable under his scrutiny, but for a moment I could swear I noticed him smiling slightly. However, it could easily be a trick of the morning sun. I look away to face Vermeil, not wanting to get caught up in this any longer. Vermeil, we are leaving. He lifts his head at my voice, grins for his expression, quickly starts into frown. He shows no eagerness to move forward, keeps his distance. Still feels regret that it's only us who are leaving. Empathize greatly with him, knowing that feeling is known we will never escape from, even after this lake is far behind us. However, he manages to weakly smile again. Those words are music to my ears. Let's head out. The man walks towards the forest without even acknowledging the guide. It is for the best in the whole. We must get away from here. It saddens me to think Vermeil doesn't even have the strength to become angry. Or perhaps he had an epiphany about this lake in the same way that I did. We will be able to discuss that on another occasion. Despite the firmnesses I intently tried to have, my heart starts to waver. Margaret, Lou, they were both still there. I wish to give them a proper farewell. I want to do something. My eyes begin to water and almost turn back around. No. It is done. I need to remember that. They would never want me to ascribe their lives to sinless. Nothing would disgrace the memory more. I'll keep them in thoughts, without allowing the lake to poison me. My steadfastness truly gained, marching to the light, no hesitation. With solemn heart, I at last arrived at Temma. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. The urgency meant that my mind was occupied with other matters. I worked tirelessly to aid Hammer's own guards in forcing back the brigadiers. But during the moments of calm and when the sun went down, I would remember the lake. Vermeil was of great help during the fight. Outwardly positive demeanor lifted the spirits of many around him, but I could see from the shadows in his eyes that he hadn't forgotten what he went through. Nor could I miss the distance that he had grown between us. He took few words on me, and I never gave him many either. He seemed stronger than I had seen before, at my as well. On receiving payments for his services, the guide must give a report of all of those who both succeeded and failed to cross the lake. The name and fate of Margaret soon became known in Hammer. I added that she was an intelligent, thoughtful person, and urged them to show respect for her passing. I hope that one day I will have the opportunity to go to her hometown and give her my own proper respect. I was finally able to learn the name of the stranger we met on the bridges. Lou. As the guide predicted, he did not survive. At first the cross had been denied. He must have been truly desperate to attempt the crossing alone. I can only pray that those who cared for him learned the truth of what happened. I have not heard nor seen the guide since then. I remain obscured in that realm of fog and fear, a mysterious light off in the distance that is ever out of reach of the real world. I worry about when I must return home to my usual life. It will be difficult to continue as things were before. One thing I know for certain, that my village elder must be told that no one is to cross Sinlus again. Probably told the Helmers leaders the same. Not a single more person should have to experience what we did. Its darkness will remain with me for the rest of my days. For so much was lost. I try to believe that our lessons will keep others from suffering the same way, and in the end, something will be gained. Pain. Perseverance for all the hurt. Yay, we did it! And since people are soon gonna wake up here, I will call this the end of the stream. Thanks for watching, thanks for watching the video, thanks for watching the stream. This is the end of Lake of Voices, and I'll see you all in the next game that we're going to finish.